think about it. Tickets are ready. But let's talk about today.
Yeah.
Being a hooker here. Beverly White is a teacher as well as a performer on the accordion. She has had up to 72 students at once, oh my God. Now she's taking it easy with only 12 in her home. That's still a lot, Beverly. Last week she played in Kohler. Next week she plays at Oktoberfest in Antioch. This is Beverly's third time here at Music on KK, and her students have been featured here many times as well. Thank you, Beverly, for sharing your music, and welcome to Music on KK. And
Now here comes the hooker part. Don't go away, Joyce.
Oh. Yes.
Would you come out here, please, for a moment?
Okay.
You gotta hook her up.
Up there?
Yeah, you know how to do it. Yes, I have a torn rotator cuff, so I cannot reach myself in the back. Well, I manage. I can get it off. I can get the hook undone, but I can't get it hooked because I can't hold it still straight enough.
There, how did I do?
Super. You're a big man. Thank you.
I don't know why she got a hook.
Yeah. Well, it's quite a conversation piece. Anytime I play, I have to have somebody hook me up. So with that right away gets a smile on everybody's face. Well, we want to welcome you here to Music on KK this afternoon. What a beautiful day the Lord's given us, right? I'll tell you, this weekend, aren't we glad we don't live in Louisiana or Mississippi? I'll take the snow and the rain or whatever comes. I like our Wisconsin. I think it's a beautiful state, and I've traveled through quite a few of them. So the main theme today is music for seniors. And to tell you the truth, when I started my program, I really didn't know where to start because we have so many beautiful songs and beautiful tunes down through the years since I've been playing. So I thought maybe I'd start with my theme song that I had used for 10 years when I played at the Bavarian Inn. And of course, it would have to be a German song, and it's called the Jolly Lumberjacks. I'm a Milwaukee-born girl on the south side of 30th and Orchard I was raised, and today I have an anniversary. I've been playing the accordion 72 years today. Thank you. It's my birthday today, and my dear friend Joe Krawczyk, it was his birthday just the other day. Joe, raise your hand so we know where you are. Would you sing happy birthday to Joe, please? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe. Happy birthday to you. Good. Joe's a little bit older than I am, right, Joe?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, so one of the first songs that I picked up by ear, our family always had a tradition on Thanksgiving that we would go to a show. Now this is back in the 30s, you understand. And we went to the old Juno Theater down on 6th and Juno, and we saw Alexander's Ragtime Band. And I came home and I started playing it, and my father said, you didn't get the music to that, that's a new movie. I said, I listened, I picked it up, and I'm going to play that first. Thank you, and before that, I always heard the song, what was it now, because I just loved that song, but I couldn't play it because I didn't know how to play it, but I wonder how many of you remember When My Dreamboat Comes Home. Do you remember that? When my dreamboat comes home. It was 1936. You were just a memory, honey. Gal in the front, yeah. You weren't even anybody's idea then. Copyright of it's 1936. Okay, thank you. Now, I'm going to go on to girls' names because there were a lot of good songs that were talked about the girls. Nowadays, all you hear is, love you, babe, love, love, whoa, whoa, bang, bang, boom, 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 boom. But our songs, they actually talked about a girl, right? And I think one of the prettiest ones was Ramona. And then, of course, there was Mary, for it was Mary, Mary, long before the fashions came. But for propriety, society, we'll call her Marie, for it was Mary, Mary, long before the fashions came. But there is something there that sounds so square. It's a grand So now that kind of takes us up to the middle 30s. Am I doing pretty good? Year-wise? When I sat down, I said, I gotta figure out 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and then after that, forget it. Because there was not very much really nice out. There's a few songs, but not too bad. And then, of course, the immortal Bogey Carmichael's Stardust. I think it was Harbor Lights and Red Sails in the Sunset. Those were all really wonderful songs, and of course we were all just on pins and needles over here because we heard what was going on in Europe and we weren't involved, you know. But one of the nicest songs, and I've heard many fellas tell me, you know, I spent more than one nickel in the Nickelodeon on this song, San Antonio Roads. to my favorite, and it is my favorite because I made my first buck on it. I was just a little kid. My father, who worked for the bus company and the streetcar company, Milwaukee Transport, said to me, Beverly, he said, on Saturday my shop is having the picnic, and he said, we are taking the accordion along and you're going to play, because I've been bragging to the guys in the shop that my kid's taking accordion lessons. I said, oh, no, Daddy, no. You know, I was scared stiff. I played for my grandma and my grandpa or my uncle or aunt, but this was different. You know, I didn't know any of these people. So Saturday came, and I think I even hid in the front someplace. I don't remember, but I saw the picnic basket go in, and I saw my accordion go in, and then my father said, come on, Beverly, I know where you're hiding. So he said, just get in the car now. So out we went to Old Pleasant Valley Park on 92nd in Oklahoma. It's the freeway now, you know. And they put me up on the top of one of those orange-yellow trucks, you know. And I proceeded to play my favorite song, because I just learned it and I liked the song. And I know you know it. And it's springtime in the Rockies. I'll be coming back to you. Little sweetheart of the mountains, with your bonny eyes of blue. Once again I'll say I love you when the birds sing all the day. When it's springtime in the Rockies far away. Sing this one because it goes right along with it. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Oh, come on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. When it's springtime in the Rockies, I'll be coming back to you. Little sweetheart of the mountains, with your bonny eyes of blue. Once again I'll say I love you when the birds sing all the day. When it's springtime in the Rockies far away. And when I finished, there was a nice little old man with a straw hat. He passed the hat around and he got $6.12 from me. And believe me, that was a lot of money back, and I think it was 1937 or 38. And my father looked at me and said, Beverly, he said, what did I tell you? He said, keep practicing that thing. He said, someday you can make your bread and butter from it. And he was right.
Wow.
So, but that $6.12, boy, that was a shining light for me, believe me. That was like I think about $25 today. Because, you know, we just come out of the Depression. We had potatoes and sauerkraut 4 times a week at our house. But we were glad my daddy had a job. And then when I married the first time, because I'm on my second one now because I lost him. But he'd always say to my mother, I can't understand why Beverly never makes sauerkraut. I never But now I eat sauerkraut without any problem. But I mean, those were tough days. I can remember fellas pushing a wagon down the street with apples in it.
Yeah.
I can remember the rag man going through and saying, kudere, kudere, kudere rags, because he'd buy the rags from us, you know. But you know what? We were, like they wrote that book, The Greatest Generation. It didn't make us any worse. It made us better, you know. And that's what's so great about it. I wouldn't want to have grown up in any other time. At least I know the music. I can't figure today's music out, some of it. Okay, well then, along came the Andrews sisters. You remember them.
Oh, yes.
And they introduced the inevitable beer barrel polka. Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel Now's the time to roll a barrel, for the gang's all here. Then they heard a rumble on the floor. It's the big surprise they're waiting for. The beer, the couple's all form a ring. 4 miles around, you'll hear them sing. Here we go, one more time. Is everybody ready? Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel. We've got the blues on the run. Sing, boom, Torero. Sing out the song of the cheer. Now's the time to roll the barrel, for the gang's all here. One of my students back in the 70s said to me, when Bobby Vinton was really coming out real good, he said, Mrs. White, do you think that I could learn that new song that Bobby Vinton is singing, his Beer Barrel Polka? I said, honey, we've been doing that since the 30s, and here it was the 70s, so you see our music really sticks, so, and that's good. And then, of course, came along that terrible, terrible December 7th, 1941, which changed all of America, believe me. Mamas went to work in the factories. I remember my mother went to vocational school and learned how to run a milling machine. Wow, that was different than whatever she did. My daddy took a part-time job at night, plus his gig in the daytime for the bus company, and my sister and I learned how to cook. We'd never had to do that before, and we'd come home for lunch just so we could practice on our own, then our mother wouldn't be there. But you know, it made women out of us. I mean, we were way ahead of our time, and I think our whole generation was like that, and that's what brought in a whole new set of music, even though the big bands were still traveling some. Remember now, already Lawrence Welk had his start, but they used to come in the bus, you know, there'd be 12, 14 bands, you know, guys in a band, you know. Well, that is no more because it's not like that. But one of the most famous ones out of the Second World War was Sentimental Journey, and I know that you all know it. So sing along. I'm gonna take a sentimental journey. I'm gonna set my heart ready. I'm gonna take a sentimental journey to renew old memories. I got my bag, I got my reservation. I spend each time I could afford. I could shine my anticipation on to hear that all aboard. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven. Town and mile, a railroad track that takes me back on a journey. Why did I decide to go? I'm gonna take a sentimental journey home. One more before we take a break, because I need something to drink. My voice is giving out of me. And this one, we always went roller skating at the Palomar out there. Elmer's tune. What makes a fella start thinking, falling in love? It's just Elmer's tune. Why does a lady of 80 go out on the loose? What makes the gander meander in search of the goose? It's not the season, the reason it's plain as the moon. It's just Elmer's tune. Listen, listen, there's a lot you like to be missing. Singing, swinging, any old time in any old way. The hurdy-gurdies, the birdies, top on the peak, Sandy Maker, the man in the moon, the city charmer, the farmer, the man in the moon. They all sing Elmer's tune. With a boogie beat. Okay. All right. Now everybody's refreshed, including me. Let me take one more sip, okay?
One more.
I got one more. That's good, I appreciate that. There's nothing like H2O. All right, now where were we? We were in the Second World War, right? We did Elmer's Tomb. Okay. Oh, and I got a couple of real good ones here. Isn't that nice? I got this for a Christmas present from my drummer. It just hooks right onto the stand, and then you can put your glass there. That's why I brought my own equipment, so I could take a clothespin and put my cheat sheets there, so I remember all the songs in the proper order. Okay, all right. Then we came out with a real beautiful song. Wait, I forgot what key it's in. I gotta... Okay. And it was a tune that most of the guys came back to, or either they were singing that or thinking about it while they were overseas. Apple blossom time. I will be with you in apple blossom time. I will be with you to change your name to mine. Someday in May, I'll come and say, happy the bride that the sun shines on today. What a wonderful day it will be. What a wonderful day for you and me. Church bells will chime. You will be mine in apple blossom time. I don't know why I love you like I do. I don't know why, but I do. I don't know why I love you like I do. I don't know why, I just do. You never seem to want my romancing. The only time you'll hold me is when we're dancing. And do we do that very often? I don't know why, I just do. You never seem to want my romancing. The only time you hold me is when we're dancing. I don't know why I love you like I do. I don't know why, I just do. I'm in love with you, honey. Say you love me too, honey. No one else will do, honey. It's funny, but it's true. I loved you from the start, honey. Let's short it out, honey. Every day with you could be so doggone sunny, honey. Baby, with you. Every day with you could be so doggone sunny, honey. Baby, with you. Thank you. And then, towards the end of the war, I think it came out in 45, and I remember it very well in 46, because that was when I met my first husband. And the movie was To Each His Own, with Olivia de Havilland and John Lund. Lovely, I promise won't you come true. No good alone, I found my own, one and only you. What good is a song if the words just don't belong? And a dream can't be a dream on two more to be kissed, or they'll never know what love can do. All alone I found my own, one and only you. Okay. Second cheat sheet. All right. Now, I'm not saying that all of our songs were perfect, because we had a couple screwy ones too. Like Three Little Fishies, which was just before I could catch on to anything. But this one I remember very well. Mercy dotes and dozy dotes and little lansy divey, a little divey too. Oh, mercy dotes and dozy dotes and little lansy divey, a little divey too. Now if the words sound clear and funny to your ear, a little bit jumbled and jivey, sing mercy goats and dozy dotes and little lamsy ivy. Oh, mercy dotes and dozy dotes and little lamsy ivy, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't do. A kiddly divey too, wouldn't do. Young lady, does your uncle have a favorite song he'd like me to play for him? Uncle, do you have a favorite song? Anything before, I mean, after 1900 would be fine, because before then I wasn't playing. You
know any Italian songs?
Oh, yes. Would you like a tarantella, or one of Oi Marie, or tarantella? Oh, I love a tarantella. You know, I used to teach at Leduca's. That's where I learned tarantella. Pardon?
I remember, come back to Sorrento. That was usually a big favorite.
Okay. That's it, isn't it? I haven't played that one for a while. But let me play you a tarantella. Hey, bye. Section that I was going to do pertaining to non-English themes and words as America accepted this changeover of really the melting pot of America. And I do believe that the first one that came in the German language was the Liechtensteiner polka, and that was a big hit, the first non-English to ever hit the big top on the hit parade. So ein Liechtensteiner Polka, mein Schatz, Polka, mein Schatz, ja. Das ist der Liechtensteiner auf seinem Platz, mein Schatz. Man kann beim Polka schieben, zicken, bei die Augen sehen, Musik wie Der alte Herr von Liechtenstein, ja, 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 der konnte nicht allein sein. Nein, 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 schickte seinen Boten aus. Ja, 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 schaut nur an Musik, hatte Nuss und steckt sie mir im Haus. The music laid him loose, the worst and fine and close. They didn't like the musician, so they chased him in the house. Das ist der Liechtensteiner auf seinem Platz, mein Schatz. And of course, Schatz is sweetheart in German. Schatz is sweetheart in German. And Shane is nice, very nice. So, and then all of a sudden along came Bobby Vinton. And guess what he did? A Polish song. Moja droga jest się kocham. Sing it, Joe. It means that I love you so. Moja droga jest się kocham. More than you ever know. Kocham się sobie, serce. Heart. Love you with all my heart. Return to me, and you will be my melody of love. And then getting into the country vein, Willie Nelson stole a Croatian tune. Frankie Yankovic picked it up too, but Willie Nelson really hit it big in the country vein, in the country field, and that was Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. In the twilight glow, I see blue eyes crying in the rain. As we kissed goodbye and parted, I knew we'd never meet again. Love is like a dying ember, only memories remain. Through the ages I'll remember blue eyes crying in the rain. And in Croatian, Suzelie plave oči, oči is eyes, plave oči, nevoria, plave lasy, da me ljubiš, that's love. Sam mi život sa neba. Budem tebe svého srdce, there's that word again, makar što si varla. Nekad neću zaboravim plave oči ljubim ja. Oh, how I love those blue eyes. My heritage is Bohemian, and my first husband, the first time I met him, he told me, I asked him where he was from, and he said, from Pound, Wisconsin. He said, you probably don't even know where that is. He said, it's a half a pound since I left. I said, okay, that's the Weisenheimer. So we got to talking, and then he said, I asked him, I said, well, what nationality are you? And he said, I'm a cross between a Cocker Spaniel and an Airedale. I thought, oh boy, this guy's really got it, you know? But I want you to know that there's a lady here today that knew my first husband, and we've known each other for many years. She's sitting in the back row over there. Her name is Mary Ann. And she came up to me and she asked me a question about a place where we played years ago. And I looked at her and I said, oh, Mary Ann. She didn't know my first husband, and that's the kind of a guy he was, right? And Joe, you knew him too. But I give credit for my Croatian language to my second husband, who is from Romania. And he taught that to me because he speaks 6 languages. And when it came out, I thought, I got to learn that. You know, and it's not so easy just to learn a language if somebody's saying it to you, but you got to think the English words in the back or you have a problem, you know. And he also speaks Hungarian, and I like the Hungarian Brahms, number 5. And we have a very favorite that everybody knows, only you didn't know it was Bohemian, the Blue Skirt Waltz. Frankie Yankovic discovered it in Czechoslovakia at the end of the Second World War, came back here to America, recorded it, and sold 1 million copies. I dream of that night with you, lady, when first we met. $50,000 for the first royalty check of 1 million copies. And that's probably like 80,000 today or 75,000. And old 78 it was. Remember how the old 78 were a tune on each side, and on the other side was just because you think you're so pretty, just because you think you're so hot. Now just because you think you got something that nobody else has got, you caused me to spend all my money. You laughed and called me old Santa Claus. Well, I'm telling you, honey, I'm through with you, because, just because. You laugh and call me old Santa Claus. Well, I'm telling you, honey, I'm through with you. Because, just because. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our musical tour. And I'm sure there's a lot of songs I didn't play, but I think it would be nice if we closed with God Bless America. And please remember, the accordion is not dead. We have a Milwaukee Accordion Club here that meets the fourth Mondays of each month at the Root River Center on 76th and Ross and our 75th. And we have 350 members. Wow. And we have some terrific shows and guest artists. Sometimes some of our students play there. And if you want to find out a little bit about accordion, it's not dead. It's coming back with the Tex-Mex music. And we can't even find a 12 bass in Milwaukee because of the Latino faction, because they use that. You know, they don't play the left hand, they just play the right hand. So let's all sing God Bless America, okay? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with love from the mountain to the prairie to the ocean wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. Thank you very much. I hope you had a nice afternoon. Thank you.
Aren't you all glad you came today? I'm glad that you're here, and she is fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right around with you all.
And I'm very appreciative of
Steffi.
Next week, we have a show of Cole Porter and some original music by Stephanie Casper. She's just great. She and Gary have been rehearsing almost nightly for the last month. It's going to be just super. Don't miss it. Hope to see you then. And don't forget, if you want tickets for October 15th, 7:30, please see me. Okay? Thanks. Have a great weekend.